What does it mean to truly be free? I'm Nate, and this is my YouTube channel. Today, let's look at Bad Batch Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2, Spoils of War and Ruins of War. Overall, these episodes start the second season with a bang and give us an idea for what is in store this season. Before we dive into Season 2, though, let's quickly go over what things we covered in Season 1. At the beginning of Season 1, we asked 4 questions concerning Bad Batch's overall mission for the series as a whole. 1. Will Bad Batch fix their own inhibitor chips? 2. Will Bad Batch get Crosshair back and fix his inhibitor chip? 3. Will Bad Batch save their brother clones? And 4. Will Bad Batch reconcile the clones with the Jedi? The guys ended Season 1 having had their inhibitor chips removed, and though they were unable to get Crosshair to leave the Empire, they resolved some resentment issues and found out his chip had been removed as well. And in several of the episodes, we dove deep into some rather interesting themes, including what do soldiers do after war? What do civilians do after war? What does a true warrior look like? Do soldiers have individuality? Does Tarkin own Crosshair? And then the topic of how our decisions define us. It's looking like Season 2 will carry on this tradition of tackling heavy issues as the guys in Omega develop themselves and each other. Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2 were released together as a season premiere on January 4th, 2023 on Disney+. In this pair of episodes, Sid dispatches the Bad Batch to Count Dooku's home planet of Serenno to retrieve a small portion of his war chest in hopes of getting enough treasure for them to leave the business they're in and retire. Episode 1 was written by Bad Batch alum Jennifer Corbett, and Episode 2 was written by newcomer Gina Lucida Monreal. Gina was a writer, story editor, and producer for the CBS crime drama NCIS, where she worked with Jennifer Corbett for several years. This is her first episode of Bad Batch. Episode 1 starts the season with the guys doing a job for Sid, scoring a package from an unknown planet inhabited by giant crab creatures. The action itself is unimportant here. What we see is that the guys have repainted their armor. Clearly, they have made the decision to finally let go and accept that the Republic and its Grand Army are gone. On the Havoc Marauder, Omega studies the technical readouts of an Imperial fighter as Tech admonishes her for not focusing on her studies as much as she should be. At this point, we realize that Tech has instituted an education program for Omega and has taken responsibility for being her teacher. In Season 1, Omega received a lot of character development, and it's nice to see that she is getting more of it even when we don't see it. Good characters develop themselves in positive ways, and that makes us like them. Back on Ord Mantell, Sid gets some intel from a friend about Dooku's war chest, and she wants the guys to grab her a piece of it. However, as usual, Hunter isn't having it. They've been under the radar since the destruction of Topoka City on Kamino, but Sid convinces Tech, Echo, and Wrecker that it's a good idea. Even a small piece of war chest could garner more money than any of the jobs they've done combined. They could buy their freedom from their current cycle of living job to job. Hunter says they are already free, but Sid points out that the Empire is growing, and whatever freedom they think they have will be gone soon, unless they do something. She asks the all-too-obvious question, do you want to really be free? This is the overall theme for the season, freedom, and what it means to be free. In the very next scene, we get the theme for the episode. On the way to Serenno, Echo and Hunter discuss the purpose of the mission. Hunter wasn't keen on it to begin with, but Echo, on the other hand, feels it's an opportunity to get the resources to help other clones escape the Empire. Like the father that Hunter is becoming, he wants a better life for Omega. Echo points out that they are living this life because of Omega. If they hadn't left Kamino and taken her with them, who knows what they'd be doing. Omega overhears the conversation, and as the episodes progress, we find out that like any child, she's picked up what Hunter and Echo are talking about, but her interpretation is immensely off the mark. She comes to assume that she's a burden to them. Dooku's war chest becomes her primary focus, and thus we get the main theme for the episode pair, that life's true war chest are the people around you, your loved ones. As a result of this conversation, we know that the episodes will belong to Echo and Omega. With the antagonist still being the Empire, the storyline is more of a buddy cop narrative than anything else. Omega and Echo are searching for the same thing, a better life. Echo wants to free his brother clones, and Omega wants to free her squad. But Echo realizes early on that the war chest is out of the question if he wants to get his brothers and sister out alive. He serves as an example that Omega needs to achieve, as well as tension for her, and she for him. As Omega and the guys move along, the spectacle of action and tension present hurdles for them to overcome. They find a portion of the war chest to commandeer, but then they get trapped inside a container headed off-world and have to find their way out. The group is split up and the Empire is onto them. In Season 1, we met Captain Hauser on Ryloth, and Hauser develops himself in order to make a decision to go against his orders. And we meet Gregor on Darrow. Here we meet Captain Wilco, and what's noticeable about him and the other troopers is the color scheme of their armor. Though their helmets are familiar, completely gone are the individual and unit insignias that many of the clones wore on their armor. We get the sense that the Empire's totality in the galaxy is closer to what we find in A New Hope than where it is at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Like Captain Hauser and Gregor, Captain Wilco represents the brother in need, which makes us ask the question, will the Bad Batch save their brother clones? So as we look at the theme of freedom for the season, we will be looking at not only the existential freedom of the Bad Batch, but the physical freedom for their brother clones. As Hunter and Wrecker escape into the ruins of the former city, Echo, Tech, and Omega find a way to break away and get back to the planet's surface. As we transition into Episode 2, they crash land in the forest and find themselves clinging for their lives. Tech gets injured and Echo leads them into the forest to find a place to hide. They happen upon a local named Romar. Romar tells them that the people of Serenno fled into the woods when the Empire came and destroyed the city. During a moment he has with Omega in which she brings up the war chest, Romar tells her that happiness is worth more than any treasure. Romar's job here is to provide Omega with a literal description of what Echo has been trying to teach her throughout the mission. Echo moved on from his desire to benefit from the war chest. He's a soldier, which means he's learned to choose his battles. But Omega doesn't quite get it yet, so she escapes back to the wrecked container to see what she can put into her backpack. Echo chases her down, and in a moment reminiscent of the climax in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Omega must choose between the war chest or her squad. She chooses wisely and learns that the real war chest are the people around her: Hunter, Tech, Echo, and Wrecker. In a final scene, Admiral Rampart visits Serenno to talk with Captain Wilco. He mentions that the captain's report needs to be rewritten because he stated that he encountered Clone Force 99. But Rampart told Tarkin that Clone Force 99 was eliminated on Kamino, and he can't have any mistakes on his part be seen by Tarkin. And like Captain Hauser and Gregor, Captain Wilco refuses to falsify his report, so Rampart kills him. And with this we get Rampart's mission for the season: to kill the Bad Batch before Tarkin finds out they are still alive. As Captain Wilco's body falls off the Rampart, we as the audience see what was actually lost on the mission. Omega and Tech see their treasure fall down the side of the cliff, but when we see Captain Wilco fall, we know that he was actually the war chest they should have been going after. This episode sets up the new season with a great theme surrounding the question of freedom, and we know that the guys will be seeking an answer to the question, will the Bad Batch save their brother clones? We also find that Omega, despite all the things she still needs to learn, is fully part of the squad. She has her own gear now, and there's no doubt within the minds of the guys that she's there with them, not a tag-along. Thanks for watching, and if you like the content and the deeper discussion into the themes found in Star Wars, please hit the like button and subscribe to keep me in your feed.